Sales and marketing automation has gotten completely out of hand. So here's a good example of what I'm talking about. This is a modern go-to-market strategy that automates your lead development process. And each one of these boxes requires a different software tool, each with its own associated costs. So not to bore you to death, but I'll explain this really quickly so you kind of understand what this is. So it's always going to start out with some sort of signal tracker. You can think of these as basic alarms that are going to sound when somebody shows interest in buying from you. So this is going to be things like finding people who are liking and interacting with your social media content, maybe on LinkedIn. It's going to be looking for people who are your website visitors and identifying who they are. You can set up ways to look for people who aren't even going on your website who might be interested. And then you can also use tools that are going to do lookalikes and find similar people to all of the ones showing a buyer intent. Now, all of that data is just going to be very messy and you're not going to be able to do a whole lot with it. So it's going to have to go into a tool like Clay where you can enrich the data and get more details on all of the people found up here. However, that is not a simple tool. It is very complex and it does so many different things. So once you get data here and you're starting to understand who these people are, you're going to have to throw it into a verification tool to make sure that the data you just got is somewhat accurate. You know who you're going to be reaching out to. You may want to automate cold calls. You might want to automate voicemails. You might want to automate emails. You might want to automate LinkedIn connections. You might want to automate LinkedIn messages. All of that is going to require products, and they're all going to be on a credit system where the more you use it, the more expensive it gets. Now, assuming these messages had a good hook, it can lead directly into booking your meetings for you, where you might want to show some sort of a demo, which may push into something like a Calendly where they can automatically schedule a meeting, which all of that data will flow into your Google Workspace. Now, you have that meeting. You're probably going to have some sort of tool that's taking your notes for you, and then maybe a Zapier or a Make automation that can automatically update your CRM and push things farther down your sales process for you. And in a perfect world, all you'd be responsible for is the demo and closing the deal. Now, while that is very cool, it is so expensive. And if you're not heavily invested in this automation game, that is just completely overwhelming, and you might buy off one piece of this, get sick of it, and dump it in a few months. And yes, you can make the case that if you wanted to fire all of your BDRs, then the software is going to be cheaper than a bunch of salaries. But that is a complete change in how a business operates, and that's a very hard sell. So back to the question, this is the problem I'm trying to solve. And at the highest level, our two approaches are: one, we're trying to be a buyer's favorite sales tool, because as GTMs like this grow, buyers are going to be increasingly unhappy when they're getting hundreds of thousands of emails, voicemails, and LinkedIn messages every single month. So instead of playing the numbers game, we're playing the accuracy game. And by playing that accuracy game, we're not going to replace your BDRs. We're just basically going to put all of your BDRs on steroids. Hence why we called it sales juice. Now, this has already been a lot, so part 2, I will show how you productize those ideas.